So today I am going to try to go live, and above all, it is my fondest hope that I don't have to, what the heck, cut the stream short because of my incessant sneezing and also the rashes and bullshit associated with summertime and my struggles with my skin to the point that I start scratching myself and I draw blood. So you can see I got that and I got that. Some of it you can't really see that well, but you just have to trust me that I am freaking burning from all of the irritations present in my skin. So anyway, someone very gently and kindly and lovingly gave me a reminder that I haven't done some kind of answering questions type of video in a while. And I remember that those happen to be my favorite types to make anyway. And I don't go live quite as much since I have been like struggling so much with my stupid health issues. But I always feel like I like to go live primarily so that I am being asked questions as I go, as opposed to just telling a story. So that's why I have been trying to put out videos that are like pre-filmed, like I used to a long time ago. And additionally, it's just more proper for me, given that I have to like stop every 3 seconds to like scratch myself or like sneeze or whatever happens. So I will hopefully have a fulfilling experience with this or that question round, since it seems to be more modern. I don't recall making a video with these types of questions. So hopefully there's something interesting that we can get out of this. So the first question is the classic dog or cat, and if you have been watching me for a long time, you know that deep down I'm actually more of a dog lover, but I like cats a lot as well. They're easier to maintain, but I actually prefer dogs over cats. So yeah, Dusty, yeah, he's cool and awesome and whatnot, but deep down I long for a dog. Netflix or YouTube? What a weak question. Why does this question even exist? YouTube. Of course, I'm going to say YouTube because Netflix is pretty much like a movie archive. And of course, they're coming out with their exclusive shows and whatnot. But you guys would also know, if you've been around for a while, that I'm not really a moviegoer. I don't watch that many movies. The only reason I watch movies is because I am taken to watch movies. These days, it seems like Sundays, it's a semi guaranteed day that I will watch movies anytime I hang out with my boyfriend. But I really don't dig Netflix. It's probably because it induces some kind of anxiety on me of how am I supposed to set aside 2 hours of my day to actively watch a movie that I haven't watched. So I feel like if I owned the subscription, I wouldn't be getting my money's worth because I just don't have time for that shit. Like my watch later on YouTube got so out of control, and it's because all of the remaining videos I have there pending are over 20 minutes. I don't have time to be watching a 20-minute video unless it's one of those videos that are informative and say I can listen to it while I cook or wash the dishes. I just don't have a lot of time to just sit down and do things. But anyways, when it comes to the structure and practicality and usefulness, YouTube over Netflix any day. Phone call or text? You guys know that I am a relatively antisocial person, and as a result, I will opt for texting. Interestingly enough, I own both my line and my mom's line, and she actually texts more and uses more minutes than I do. But when it comes to using data, I definitely own her. There was a time in which I guess I was texting obsessively, but it was more done via social network, like say a messenger type of thing like Twitter or WhatsApp, which it really doesn't count toward your monthly monitoring that your cell phone provider does. But to be fair, lately I haven't been chatting much with people unless it's from a customer service point of view. So, yeah, I'm not really up in my social game as of lately. Toast or eggs? I'm not really a bready person anymore. Toast is great, but I'm not really a big fan of butter these days. So I'm gonna have to go with eggs, but they have to be seasoned the way that I season them because otherwise I know for a fact I'm not going to dig it. Cardio or weights? You know what? I can lift all day long and not get tired, but I am terrible at cardio. I cannot run for more than 2 minutes. And back when I was at the peak of my physical performance, the most I managed was jogging for about 3 minutes and really sprinting, like running. I don't want to say as fast as I could, but as fast and safely and challenging as I could. I seemed to have a resistance of like a minute to a minute and a half, but right when I was starting to peak at that is when the disaster that we are currently experiencing took place, and then all of my effort has definitely been lost. But I'm not a very good runner. But if you give me weights, I can do that all day, every day. I enjoy the act of doing cardio more than the act of lifting. But if I had to settle for one, I would say I like cardio because it's most challenging. But it's also impressive to see my growth when it comes to the lifting department because I used to be really, really, really weak. And now that I'm able to do more things, I'm just really proud that I have progressed. But if I had to choose one to stick to, definitely cardio. Even if, you know, um, lifting is important for you to have like a good, what do you call that, proportions with your body. So it's not like I can quit lifting altogether, but cardio. Facebook or Twitter? Twitter. I can go months without looking at my Facebook. And a lot of people tell me, "Did you see this thing on Facebook?" Nope. "Hey, I posted this on Facebook. Did you see it?" No. Don't ask me about Facebook. The only reason I have it is because I have invisible albums in there for me to upload pictures that I just do not want to have cluttering my phone. But outside of that, Facebook is like another MySpace for me. It doesn't exist. Ice cream cone or snow cone? That is an interesting question because I have been meaning to get a snow cone to officially review it. For I really don't have that many experiences with snow cones. So for now, I'm going to have to say ice cream cone, even though I never order ice cream cones. If I have the option of ordering an ice cream cone with a cup instead, I opt for that because I hate the time limit that eating from an ice cream cone seems to impose on you. If you don't eat that mug fast enough, it'll turn into a clusterfuck. And you don't need that. And I also hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it when it starts melting and some of it gets on my fucking finger. Like, no, I hate touching food. I am that person who forks her way through everything, and that is why I hate chicken with bones. But but yeah, the first time I had that happen to me with an ice cream cone, I said I will never eat it. And I promise you, I have not had an ice cream cone since I was like maybe 7 years old. Mobile games or console games? Console games. Because mobile games are all right, but I grew up retro, so I have to have the console games. While walking, music or podcast? Music, because if I'm listening to an educational podcast, I want to be able to actively listen, and I really cannot actively listen if I'm walking. It's not that walking is a difficult task for me, it's more of a matter of I don't feel like my retention is as effective if I am listening to a podcast while I'm exercising. iOS or Android? Definitely iOS. Android interface is the most confusing thing in the world for me. And another note about the music versus podcast from the previous question. I like music because I feel like listening to music while exercising gives me another boost of energy. Form or function? I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess I would say function. Pop or indie? I believe indie means independent. I really cannot claim to be aware of anything independent that I may watch or listen to. So, on that one, I guess I could go with what's most mainstream at the time, more popular. So, I guess I'm gonna have to say pop for that one, no matter what it's for, if it's music, if it's TV shows, movies, whatever. Cake or pie? That is an interesting question. I never thought about that comparison before. But I am definitely fond of sweet potato pie and pumpkin pie, but I cannot say that is better than a chocolate hazelnut cake or the German cake. So I'm gonna have to say cake for this one because I like that cakes can be chilled and moist inside, whereas pies tend to be dry. Now, if they're hot, they're definitely better, but I have more fond memories with cakes than pies. So that's how I will settle that question. Swimming or sunbathing? Swimming. I hate the sun, so I cannot actively set aside a day to be like, I'm going to sit under the sun because I like to get tanned and stuff. I'm already pretty dark as it is. I don't need to be getting tanned. And sunbathing. And besides, I struggle with the heat. So like if I struggle with it as it is, even when I stay away from the sun and I still have issues with my skin, imagine me actively going out to sunbathe. Just no. High tech or low tech? I need a little bit more context here, but who the heck would actively opt for something that's low tech? So I guess I would have to say high tech. But I hate that it doesn't give me more context. Big party or small gathering? Small gathering, anything. You guys know me. I'm antisocial. So, me being present at a big party, if I can anticipate that something is going to be a big event, I'm not showing up. But if I'm the one hosting it, it's definitely going to be a small gathering. The most I can see myself juggling is like a party of 10 people. And even then, I still may be a little anxious. New clothes or new phone? New clothes for sure, because phones actually last for quite some time. And honestly, I have been happier buying myself a pair of leggings than I have been after purchasing my newest phone. So I know for a fact that new clothes are the way to go. Rich friend or loyal friend? Loyal friend. Why would I want a rich friend? It's not like I'm going to be recurring to this rich friend to like solve my financial problems. And even if this rich friend were encouraging it or if they were voluntarily and without requesting it, just chipping in dollars, I really cannot say that it's on my radar to be looking for rich friends. And that your social status has absolutely no impact on how I treat you as a human being or what your functionality in my life can be, as long as you're a decent human being. I know people who happen to be, I guess we could say they're financially well off, but when I'm interacting with this person, I'm not thinking about the fact that this is my financially well off person or friend. I'm thinking about the fact that this is someone I can have a conversation with, I can have a good time with, and that is what matters to me the most. Football or basketball? Basketball. I don't understand football. All I know about football is that every like 5 seconds there is a whistle and everybody is kind of like roaming around the field and eventually they grab the ball and something happens and the whistle sounds again and people run and tackle each other and one guy may be good at dodging other people. To me, the pacing of football is frustrating, and honestly, I wouldn't know how to explain football to anybody. To this day, I still don't know what football is. Like, what are the rules of the game? So, basketball is definitely more engaging, more practical for me, and I have better memories with basketball as a player and as a watcher. So, so yeah. Work hard or play hard? Definitely work hard because I really don't know about playing hard. Nice car or nice home interior? That is interesting because I honestly do not give a crap about my home interior. And I made a video about my car the other day, but the definition of what a nice car to me is may differ from what the average person may think a nice car is. For me, I would rather have the nice car because I need a car that is reliable. I need a car that's not going to shut down on me, leave me walking, break down, have expensive repair bills, and a nice home interior. It just doesn't do anything for me. It's not like it fulfills me. And I honestly like to draw my own interior design, even if I may grow out of this stuff at some point. But I cannot imagine spending, say, a couple $1,000s for a home interior, especially when I know that this is not my permanent place of settlement. So I would rather have the nice car, definition of nice car being one that is reliable, functional, in good shape, yada yada. It doesn't have to be like a 2020 BMW or whatever fancy brands are out there. Nothing like that. What's worse, laundry or dishes? Fucking dishes. Because at least the laundry, I happen to have three separate baskets. One is for white clothes, another basket is for colored clothes, and the other basket is for like dark clothes. So all I have to do is load them onto my car, drive off to the laundry, and then dump every single basket into their respective washing machines, like throw some money in there, wait 20 minutes, and then transfer them to the dryer. And my interaction with clothes is very limited. Whereas with dishes, you have to think about which dishes are a little less dirty, which ones are a little less greasy, and you constantly have like water running and you're exposing your hands to like fucking dish liquid, and that mess just really dries up my hands, and I really hate how it feels while I'm doing that, and I just do not enjoy the act of washing dishes. So I think laundry is far more simplistic, although it makes me leave the house and drive somewhere. But at least laundry is something I don't have to do very often, whereas dishes, it consumes way too much of my time. Jogging or hiking? Jogging. I'm not really fond of hiking. I don't like to be away from home. I don't like to be out in the wilderness. And hiking is something that can be dangerous. What if the weather goes bad? What if you encounter a bear? What if you trip and get hurt and you don't know how to have people find you? What if you lose your water bottle? Anything can happen while hiking. And if I were to go hiking, I really want to have something like a dog with me. I don't want to go by myself. So hiking is something impractical. I really am not very wild about the outdoors these days, so I can do without hiking. Bath or shower? Shower. If I am going to submerge myself into water, I like for it to be in a pool. I really have never taken a bath in my house, like never. The only time I did something remotely resembling taking a bath, it was to use this thing. It's like magnesium or something that you dump into your bathtub and stay in there for like 15 minutes to like help with your muscles. But now my bathtub's drain is all like messed up to where it doesn't really like shut. So I have no hope now of taking a bath. And besides, I like for my showers or time in the bathroom to be relatively quick. So definitely showers. Sneakers or sandals? Sneakers. I'm actually trying to sell all of my sandals because I never wear them. I don't like open ended shoes, and I like to be able to run in case of emergency. And if the weather goes to shit, I don't want to be like, well, it's raining outside. Oh my god, there's a puddle. I cannot step on this. I cannot step on that. I am also a very like fast walker. I'm a speed walker. So wearing sandals is not very practical for that. And when I was little, I always had the disgrace of my fucking flip-flops or sandals, whatever, would break at the most unexpected times. So sometimes when that happens, your foot ends up touching the ground. And that stuff just messed me up in the head so much because all I could think about is the fact that my feet are fucking dirty. So I honestly have never really worn sandals. Probably the last time I wore sandals or bought any for an actual like event, it was some 6 years ago, and I have been the happiest person alive. Glasses or contacts? Glasses, and you guys should know that. I do not like the idea of shoving something into my eye. And I also feel like there's a lot that can go wrong with contacts. So I am going to wear glasses until the day that I die. And I will never ever consider that stupid LASIK surgery. No, I respect my eyes too much. Hamburger or taco? That is a tough ass question. If I had to go for what has most flavor to me, definitely the taco. When it comes to like satisfaction, I feel like a burger is the way to go. But for the sake of what I seem to feel most satisfied by when it comes to like enjoyment, I would have to say the taco. Nothing beats that seasoning. Couch or recliner? Definitely the couch. I like to be able to either sit or like lie down as opposed to just reclining myself. And even if I'm on the couch, I can place what can I say? I can place pillows in it if I wanted to give myself the sensation of being reclined. So, yeah, no. And I also think that recliners are obnoxious because they seem to be just heavier and more difficult for me to like move around. Because you also have to keep in mind wherever I put this recliner, I need to make sure that I'm not hitting anything behind me and that I'm not hitting anything in front of me. Whereas couches, you just throw them anywhere and they just work out. But recliners are just obnoxious for me. Online shopping or shopping at a store? Definitely shopping at a store because I like to smell things, touch things, try things. I cannot imagine buying a candle I have never bought before, for instance, online, because what I think a green tea scent is going to be like by brand A may not be what I'm used to, may not be what I'm looking for. And brand B is actually better, but I wouldn't know that if I'm not sampling it. So candles is one of those things I always have to physically go to a store to purchase. Clothes are something I want to say those are the only things I find myself ordering online these days. And the only way I buy them online is if I have bought this brand in person before and I know exactly what to anticipate. But if it's a new kind of fabric, new kind of like style cut. If it's not leggings, pretty much, I'm not buying it. And buying online, I also find that it tends to be more expensive. I refuse to pay more than $5 for a t shirt, for instance. And online, primarily, t shirts tend to have like a $20 price range. And to that, I say, fuck you. So I just cannot imagine buying anything besides leggings and perhaps jackets with thumb holes online. And that's honestly the only thing I have gone for online. So when it comes to groceries, I have never ever purchased online groceries ever. Same thing. I also like the fact that if I'm going to order stuff like produce, only I know what I deem to be quality worth paying for. And I also like to handle those things myself because people may not be gentle with your objects. And say you order bananas and they come all fucking bruised up and stuff, and then I have to go through the trouble of this shit got delivered home. Now I got to get on my car, drive to the store, and have it returned and replaced. I don't have time for that bullshit. If I buy it personally, it is my responsibility to transport it and take care of it and handle it so that it's in its optimal condition. And other times something just may leak. And I'm pretty sure that people who do shopping on your behalf are not inspecting the objects to make sure that they are very well screwed and whatnot. So I just don't want to deal with that. I feel like when it comes to my own personal groceries, nothing beats my own integrity. So why would I deposit my trust onto someone else? And in addition, I really like to say, I need a water gallon right now. Let me go to the store, pick it up, and I have it with me right now, as opposed to having to be limited to the scheduling that the store I'm ordering from has. It's just highly impractical for me. So I will always, 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 always do in person shopping. Receive an email or receive a letter. I really prefer emails because they're faster and just neater. But honestly, nobody writes letters to me, and I really do not attach much emotional significance to handwritten letters anyway. There is this little thing that mom gave to me back in like February 1999 that it was some kind of like a little vertical pamphlet type of thing, just two-sided, and in the back she hand wrote something, and it was just a very beautiful like mother to daughter note, and it's somewhere. I always find that when I'm not looking for it, but that is the one thing that to me means a lot. But other than that, it's not like people are handwriting letters to me. Do I miss that or crave that? No. I have learned to hear people's voices through their emails to where I'm no longer sensitive about the fact that I am not receiving handwritten letters or phone calls from certain people. Passenger or driver? I prefer to be the driver because I have so many close calls when I'm riding with someone that just simply do not happen to me, and they don't happen to me because I am paying attention. And I also feel like the fate of my life is better in my own hands, but there are times in which I really do want to go out and just tour, look out the window and whatnot. But you guys know that I actually like the act of driving, so I will always prefer to be the driver over the passenger. Tablet or computer? Um, my experiences with computers in the past decade have been particularly frustrating. I've never owned a tablet, but I have used them. I cannot say that they can replace computers altogether because there are functions that I can only get done using a computer. So I guess I would have to say computers over tablets. But when it comes to ease of access, definitely the tablet, but functionality wise, computer. Most important in a partner, intelligent or funny? That is a tough ass question. It is possible to be intelligent, but be the kind of intelligent that comes off as arrogant, cold, detached. Whereas if you're funny, I feel like if you're funny, I look forward to being with you because my days tend to be challenging, shitty, mediocre, trying. So if I can look forward to the fact that I'm going to see your silly ass and you're going to instantly improve my mood, I have become so much more appreciative of people who are funny more than intelligent, only because when I was in school, my focus used to be I have to be intelligent because I have to have good grades. Good grades are going to set me up for a better future, and we all know that's bullshit. But the funny people in my class, I actually looked as annoying. I hated those guys because they were being buffoonish and just interrupting my educational time. But now, looking back, I have so much appreciation for them because at work, I remember the funny person more than I remember the intelligent person. And the intelligent people, even if they are funny as well, I find that the person who is actively funny brings me more joy. But the funny person can have weaknesses as well, because if you're a funny person who is constantly hurting themselves, not advancing in life, making bad financial moves and stuff, I think that is a major setback. It is a cause of concern. But if you are well independently and I'm well independently and we're hanging out and we have a good time and you're funny, I really think that's important. So for now, I will say that I prefer the funny person over the intelligent person, only because I really hope that I am self sufficient in the intelligence department. Not that I will know everything that I need to know about how to lead a successful life, but I don't want to have to rely on my partner's intellect for me to make it. Because what if stuff between us doesn't work out? I'm going to find out that I was relying on his intellect too much. So I really think that being funny is the most important thing there. But it's subject to change. So maybe in a year or two, I should revisit that question, see if I feel any different. A car or a truck? Fuck trucks. Cars. Trucks just are gas guzzlers and they're obnoxious and they're stupid big, and I really cannot imagine having a truck as my everyday mode of transportation. They're just absolutely impractical. To me, you should own a truck only if you have utilities that you, at least if not on a daily basis, very close to daily, you have to haul around. But if you have those stupid trucks because it's a compensatory vehicle or you just like obnoxious things, I hate you. Just know that I hate you because you are always the motherfucker who parks next to me and you block my view. Or you're the one who has like those four stupid tires on the rear of your truck and you are occupying two lanes while you drive. I really hate trucks. I think that they're not practical for me. But most of the people I know who own trucks apparently do use them for utilities quite often. So, I guess it works out for you. But that's one of the things that I hate about living around here. There's a lot of people on trucks and they're all obnoxious. And don't get me started on the fact that you fucking use diesel. Fuck you. Trucks, legitimate trucks, like 18 wheelers, should use diesel, not your stupid ass everyday vehicle. Blue or red? Blue. You guys know blue is my favorite color. Money or free time? Definitely free time. Like, I am so appreciative of free time when I get free time that I actually do not feel guilty about indulging in that free time for free time stuff, as opposed to, sure, I am off work, but just because I am off work doesn't mean I actually have free time. Unfortunately, I'm living in a time when I have to force free time upon myself because all I want to do is like hustle and hustle and hustle, and I absolutely hate that. And I'm definitely happier the days that I am able to detach my mind from my responsibilities on how to make money and actually relax and indulge in free time, as opposed to feeling guilty that I'm not investing that time into growing my personal wealth or going toward, like, building toward a wealthy future. Fuck that. Amusement park or day at the beach? I want to say a day at the beach. I really like the beach setting. I don't get to go to the beach often. Shit, last time I was at a beach, actually enjoying myself at a beach, it was back in 2011. And I guess I have kind of passed by the beach, but not really set foot on the beach in more recent times. And that really saddens me. So, but yeah, I have more fond memories at a beach than at an amusement park. At a movie, candy or popcorn. Popcorn. Nothing beats movie theater buttered popcorn. That is the only time I actively request for something to have butter. But even then, I try to limit it by just purchasing the smaller bag of popcorn and sharing it. Pen or pencil? Pen. Toilet paper, over or under? Fucking over. Over looks so much better. Under irritates me a little bit. Although, when it comes to tearing your pieces of toilet paper, I find that under is slightly more comfortable, but if you're running low, I feel like it's easier to bump against the top of like where the carton tube is at, like that little set there. But I really like for aesthetic purposes, I like for the toilet paper to go over rather than under. Cups in the cupboard, right side up or upside down? Fucking right side up. Pancake or waffle? Waffle. Coke or Pepsi? Neither, since I gave up soda about 12 years ago, but if I messed with any of that, I usually went for Pepsi. Coffee cup or thermos? Thermos. Blinds or curtain? I really miss having curtains. These days I have to rely on blinds, but I definitely prefer curtains because curtains, depending on what kind of fabric you have, if you have a sheer fabric, the light that comes in the daytime actually reflects the color of your curtains. And I have a dream of going back to my teenage days when I had a curtain over my window blind, and they used to be burgundy, a sheer burgundy. So my room looked a little red on the inside. And the reason I want that is because now that I have discovered that one candle that comes in a red jar, if I were to light that up in a somewhat cloudy day, whatever sunlight comes from the outside, like brightness comes from the outside along with that jar, is going to make my room look really cool. So I definitely prefer curtains. I grew up using curtains more than blinds. A train or a plane? A plane. And I've never been on a train, just to be absolutely transparent about it. But you guys know me. I'm a speedy person. I'm not patient. I don't have time to deal with trains. Or like the rate of time it takes me to rely on a train as my mode of transport. Phone or phablet? Is a phablet a phone that is a tablet? I guess so, but definitely a phone. Iced coffee or hot coffee? Fucking neither. Coffee is mud and it's gross. Meat or vegetables? When it comes to enjoyment, definitely meat. But when it comes to what I would rather have to like feel more energized and better and not feel guilty about deteriorating my health, vegetables. But if I think about it critically, I can definitely have vegetables raw. Whereas if I were to have meat without any seasoning, let's pretend that for some reason I don't have access to anything, meat tastes pretty horrible without any vegetables or anything spicing it up. So I would have to say vegetables for that one. Now, if I'm ordering a pizza, I find that the vegetables matter more to me because I have had spinach pizza with like feta cheese, which I guess that's animal product. We could classify cheese as meat in this case temporarily. But even if we were to skip the cheese, having spinach with pesto and onions, pretty much a salad pizza or a pizza salad, perfectly fine. So I'm pretty confident that vegetables is the right answer for me. I am at question number 50, so after I answer this one, I will catch up with the comments because I know that quite a few have been dropped. And yeah, just go ahead and talk to you guys for a bit. International vacation or a new TV? Definitely an international vacation because TV is something that I can go years without exposing myself to. And the reason I say that is because it wasn't until my brother moved in last year that I watched television in my own house. And prior to that, everything I watched, anything I did, it happened on my phone. And I wasn't even playing games anymore. So it's not like I could say, hey, I need the TV for that. So definitely an international vacation. And although I have never been outside the country, I can be very confident that I would enjoy that investment much more than purchasing a TV because right now I am looking for a way to get rid of the fucking TV that I have in this room because I have not used this TV since 2014. I don't even know if it works, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. But every time I have to like put away my laundry or if I sell something and I need to pack it, that fucking TV is on the way because I don't have any furniture in here. So like what the fuck am I doing with this TV? It used to be downstairs, but now since my brother's stuff is there, this TV has nowhere to go. And of course, fuck them. Everything that is inconvenient or an obstruction needs to come to her room. So if it were up to me, I would dump it in the dumpster out there right now as it is, perfectly functional, just to fucking get rid of it. So that is how I feel about TVs. All right, let me catch up with some of the comments if my phone allows it. Garuda says hello, I say hello. Jordan says hi, I say hi. JP says hello, I say hello. Have you ever walked bare feet like in sand on the beach? Yes, I have. I really like to feel that graininess, sandiness, and the warmth of sand between my toes. But there have been times in which I have seen broken glass bottles. So I want to say after age 10, it became a law for me to wear those little beach sandals. I forget what they're called, but beach sandals, just for my safety. But I ain't gonna front. I also like it when you're at the shore and that little whatever piece of sand just got bathed by the seawater, it tends to be cold water, like, and it kind of chills the sand. I also like that. So I like the feel of like hot, dry sand, but also cold, wet sand. I'm not sure which one I like better, but I want to say the hot sand just because it's not muddy, whereas, the wet sand, it just gets muddy. All right, save or spend. Of course, spending is much more fun and it, I guess, gratifies you a little more instantly. But I really have become more fond of saving only because I have had emergencies come up in my life in recent months. And if it weren't for the fact that I was a good ass saver, I would have been in trouble. So I think I'm at a stage in my life in which my priority is to save more than spending. Honesty or others' feelings. Fuck people's feelings. Honesty is the way to go. Coffee or tea? You guys know I hate coffee, so tea is the way to go. TV or book? TV. Fuck books. I shouldn't be proud of the fact that it's been over 10 years since I read a book. Or I take that back. Last time I read a book was in 2011 because I had to do it for school. But I just cannot imagine a life in which I sit down and read a book again, at least without taking breaks from it. It takes me so long to read a book. And I guess if I were to have someone read a book to me, that might count as reading it. But my attention span with reading a book or being read a book to is terrible. Whereas what I watch is actually easier for me to retain because I tend to remember sounds, people's tones better than an emotionless book in front of me, even if the grammar on it is impeccable. And that is the reason why I make videos as opposed to journaling, because I find it that I enjoy being able to capture my emotion the way it is as opposed to writing it down. Even if I remember how I felt at the time of writing it down because I'm the author, it's not the same as when I'm reading someone else's piece of work and I don't know what their emotion and sound is like. So, like, there are some authors that I don't know what their voice sounds like. I just know what kind of words they write down. And that kind of bothers me. So, in this case, I would say TV, but mind you, TV would be my phone because that is what I use to like watch things from, if that makes sense. Movie at home or movie at the theater. You know what? With the current circumstances, my boyfriend told me that he has been experiencing movie theater withdrawal, which I understand because although we went to the movie theater with more frequency than I was, I guess, comfortable with or happy with, I liked to at least go to the movies maybe once a month or maybe once every 2 months. And there was a time in which we were going to the movies every single fucking Sunday because that is how much this man loves going to the theater. But lately, I have become a huge fan of ordering takeout, going to pick it up, perhaps stopping by the grocery store for like a snack on the side, coming home, and then watching movies from home. And I am lying down in my bed watching TV, and everything is within my reach, as opposed to sitting, depending on which theater you go, the seats may be shitty as fuck and I have lower back issues. So a lot of the time when I'm at the movie theater, I'm in pain. Whereas if I'm here at home, I can have my 5 pillows angled just right for my comfort. So that is one of the things that I kind of miss, the getting ready and anticipating the movie date aspect of it and actually thinking a little bit about what to wear. But when I think about it, fuck the movie theater. I prefer to be at home. Food is not as overpriced, and my home is definitely cleaner than the movie theater. So I don't know. I like being at home better for that one. Ocean or mountains? I grew up being more fond of mountains, but I would choose the ocean to hang out by, not to necessarily swim in, because again, I really have become appreciative of the beach setting. But when it comes to mountains, I think about how dangerous they actually are, and that kind of turns me off from it. But when it comes to actually exploring and like challenging myself, definitely the mountain. But if I go to a mountain, I only feel comfortable doing that if my father is around. And that is the happiest I've been climbing a mountain. But outside of that, forget it. No mountains for me. Horror movie or comedy movie? Definitely horror movie because comedy movies don't really seem to hit the spot for me. Your definition of comedy is not my definition of comedy. So I find myself having a more fulfilling time watching horror movies. The city or the countryside? When it comes to living in, I prefer to live in the city, but more on the outskirts. Like, I don't like to be really deep in the city, but not really like away to where it's boring. But when it comes to the countryside, I don't like the fact that everything seems to be really far. Like, I shouldn't have to drive 15 minutes to make it to a grocery store. And also, don't get me started on the kind of wildlife that you may encounter. And it also tends to be much darker out in the countryside, so I don't need that type of thing. Happy Wednesday, and I like your ponytail, Zamri. Thanks a lot. I need to definitely take better care of my hair, but I appreciate that. Winter or summer? Fucking winter. Fuck the summer. Fuck the heat. I hate the heat. It really destroys my skin. And I find that my better clothes are the winter clothes anyway. And I also like to wear long sleeves. And I also hate sweating. Mac or PC? You know, I've never owned a Mac. I have only used a Mac one time for about 40 seconds at an Apple store, and it was the most confusing thing I have ever done with a computer. And I also find that a lot of the programs that I use on PCs anyway are not actually Mac compatible. They have not developed the program to function with iOS. So if I were to buy a Mac, it would be like probably 80% obsolete. But I think I've hit an age where I'm not in a good position to be learning about software right now. I need something that I'm familiar with. It's easy to grasp because I am a veteran with it, as opposed to, let me buy a Mac, something I've never used before and I have no idea how it works, and it does not work quite as smoothly as the phone. To me, iOS interface on phones is magnificent. Magnificent. It's excellent. It makes sense. Whereas the Android doesn't make any sense to me. But when it comes to computers, Windows is the way to go for me. But I have been told fairly recently by a colleague that he asked me, "Do you have a Mac?" And I said, "No." And he says, "Oh, if you ever get one, that is it. You will never go back after you have one. Especially if you are like a media person, like you make music or you make videos and stuff," which I kind of do, but you guys notice how heavily produced my videos are, right? I hate spending time doing media stuff. The only thing I have patience for is music. But I only know how to do that using a Windows computer. I cannot imagine having the patience to learn another software. So if I were to get a Mac, I really want to make sure that I have a Mac coach available for me. In the same manner that when I bought mom her iPhone, I was able to teach her how to use it. And she could rely on me as an iPhone coach because I have had experience with mobile iOS since 2009. But if it weren't for that, I can see how she would have been more hesitant to like make that transition into smartphones, particularly an Apple smartphone. Console gaming or PC gaming? Console gaming. Soup or sandwich? Sandwich. Who would choose a soup over a sandwich? Maybe old people, but I don't know. And I say that only because soups tend to be like salty, and I hear that once you become old, your senses fade, so therefore you can only perceive salt, sweet, bitter, or like maybe sour. But sandwiches, I guess if you use spices on them, old people may not be able to get a kick out of that. But you guys let me know if you happen to be a senior citizen present in this stream. Let me know your opinion. Or if you know a senior citizen who is very vocal about their food, let me know. Card game or board game? Board game. And to be fair, it's interesting that this question comes up because I have been having a craving for playing a board game because everything that I do that involves entertainment tends to rely so heavily on a screen. So I honestly barely remember any board games. So I'll make it happen. Not with urgency, but I gotta re experience that. Classical art or modern art? I'm not very good at determining when art originated from, and I honestly do not go around looking at artwork. So, I'm neutral on that question. I will have to say neither, but if I had to pick an pick an answer, I guess I would say classical, since when I went to school, you get shown old ass art. I can recognize that a little better than modern art. What is modern art? Is it like electronic shit, like digital art, or what is art in modern days? Beer or wine? Neither. I don't drink alcohol, but my experiences with it, definitely wine if I had no other choice. Camping or binge watching shows at home? Fucking binge watching shows at home. Fuck camping. Bugs, potential for snakes, potential for bad weather. I'm just not an outdoor person anymore, ever since I have my skin problems. Working alone or working in a team? Working alone, because of course, I have expressed this before, but my experiences working in teams is that no matter what, someone always ends up working more than other members in the team. And the only way I would appreciate working in a team is if everybody in the team has the same focus that I have. And you are truly focused on the task at hand. But sometimes your team may be weak in the sense of you have maybe three people who are best friends with one another, and then one person who isn't really friends with anybody, so this turns out to be the shy person. And then you have the person who is absolutely focused on the job, but it's not fair on them because they end up doing more of the work. And then you have to somehow get the attention of the other fools who are spending too much time socializing during a time when you're supposed to be productive. So it's not like I like to sell myself as, well, I am the best member in a team, but I undoubtedly tend to be the most focused and productive one. So that's why I am able to say that with such confidence. But when it comes to getting paired up in a team where there's like more people who are friends with each other, and then they're not really strong workers, it's really tough. But I can appreciate being a part of a functional team, because nothing is better than tasks being delegated. Nobody deserves to be doing more work when there is more than one person present. So I will probably always opt for working alone. Dine in or delivery? In this case, I would say dine in, but if it said carry out, I would say carry out, but I would rather dine in than have my food delivered. Are you shitting me? You have to pay a delivery fee. I don't even want a tip when I go to restaurants. So imagine a forced flat fee of like, how much is delivery? $5, $6, $7? Fuck that. And it's $6 that I cannot consume. It's not like $6 of delivery fee grants me, say, my food getting home faster. I'm still spending more because I don't spend $6 worth of gas driving to the restaurant to get that. And on top of that, you usually have to wait 30 minutes to an hour for the earliest time available for you to get your food. It's insane. It's ridiculous. So the only time I use delivery is when fucking Chick-fil-A, there's a manager in one of the Chick-fil-A stores around here who, it seems like every 3 weeks, he sends out a promo to get 2 free deliveries. I use it for the sake of, you give me something, let me consume it and take the survey on it. But I really hate wasting money. and spending on delivery is wasted money. The only way I can see myself using such a service is if physically I cannot make it to the store. But if I physically cannot make it to the store, I'm going to eat at home anyway. That is my logic. Sweater or hoodie? Hoodie. I like hoodies a whole lot better because the hood and the drawstring. Whereas sweaters, it really depends because sweaters, they tend to be more for, in my personal experience, I reserve sweaters for more formal instances, especially the ones that have the little cowl neck on it or turtleneck, whatever. To me, that says casual or formal more than anything. And you guys know that that kind of attire is not the thing that I opt for. So definitely a hoodie. Comic book or comic strips? Comic book, even though I really don't experience neither of them. Motorcycle or bicycle? When it comes to practicality, given the amount of mileage that I travel in a day with my personal mode of transport, a motorcycle. But when it comes to me feeling safer and affordability, definitely a bicycle. Book or e-book? Neither. If I cannot even physically read a book, what makes you think I'm going to read a digital book? The most reading I do these days is articles. The articles that do not demand a subscription from you, that is. But if I had to choose between these two, book only because if I am going to focus my vision on looking at small characters, it better not be from a screen because it really strains my eye. Whereas reading from a book, it takes way longer for my eye strain to occur. When sleeping, do you prefer a fan or no fan? Fan! I cannot imagine a life in which I sleep without a fan. The only time I have my fan off is during the winter, but I like the fan because it creates white noise and also because I like the sensation of air moving as opposed to air that's just still, you know? Ugh. Fan. Ninjas or pirates? I think ninjas are more interesting. I also like their attire. But when it comes to story, I think the stories of pirates are more entertaining, eerie, more engaging. But when it comes to like my personal interest, if I were playing a game, would I choose the pirate or the ninja? I would go with the ninja. That's how I answer that question. And if you had a lineup of movies and you asked me, which one do you wish to indulge in? I would choose the ninja movie. And then last question is TV shows or movies? Undoubtedly movies, because I cannot even tell you what was the last TV show I actually watched. Even when Nickelodeon, I can never say that. Nick Channel used to be cool back in the early 2000s. I never watched anything from there. Even when Toon Disney and especially their Jetix era was a thing, it's not like I was a religious TV watcher. So I would have to say movies and that one. And movies is something that it consumes on average 2 hours of your life. Whereas TV shows, it's like 47-minute episodes, maybe 5 days a week, or maybe like one day out of the week, 47 minutes, and you have to wait however many seasons, however many years it takes for you to see the conclusion of the story. So when it comes to execution, it's just not the best path for me. And movies, at least, if you have a part 2 coming out, you can sort of chill and wait until it comes out. as opposed to TV shows that you just have to watch the progression of. And nothing makes me more irritated. And I think this is why I stopped watching TV shows. Nothing irritates me more than the fucking filler episodes. Don't give me filler episodes. I think filler episodes are a waste of time. But if you have nostalgia for a TV show and you go back to those filler episodes, I don't know about you, but I have a more fulfilling time watching them in the future, long after this show was out. Just because you ever watch a show from like the 90s and you see that shitty CGI that for some reason back in the day it used to be the shit, man. You could not imagine better graphics than that. Or say the kind of phones that they used back then, and you compare it to the technology that we have today, or the computers, the desktop computers that come up on certain movies and shows from the 90s, and you see that they have that giant ass box behind the screen, whereas now everything is like flat screen, or that TV, it like, what do they call those analog TVs when they have like the giant ass behind them of like filler circuit space, and now everything is like flat. It's amazing to go back to, especially filler episodes when they're like boring and not a whole lot of action is taking place, to where you can actually notice details like that and you're like, holy shit. I mean, we really were visited by aliens for us to advance that quickly in such a short amount of time. But yeah, in conclusion for that one, movies are better, more practical than TV shows for me. Let me catch up with the comments, and after that, I'm going to have to bail on you guys. I am for having a much larger audience. Paying generous tips by people that can afford it seems worthwhile to me. You know, occasionally, when I go to a restaurant and I am blown away by the customer service, I usually leave a better tip than I was intending. Like, there was this one time I went to a burger restaurant and they fucked up my order. I asked for well done, and as soon as I took a bite out of that mug, and I looked at my burger and I saw fucking red, and I squeezed it and it started bleeding right in front of me, and like the beef was coming to life and almost walking on the table. I politely said to the waitress when she came back, "Hey, my burger is undercooked. I'm sorry, but I can't have this." And then she said, "I'm so sorry. I know that you told me that you wanted it well done. It was a mistake on the kitchen. I will go back and fix it for you." And they take care of me, and there's like no drama. It's a very like smooth experience, transition, whatever. I really like it when they are genuinely apologetic and they immediately take the matter into their own hands and fix the situation. That is amazing. But you can always have an experience that leaves you disappointed. And that experience happened to us last Sunday. I have been contemplating making a video about it. I'm not sure if I will. Maybe I should. To give you an example of what I consider to be shitty customer service, to where it may affect my perception of a place, and also like hurt your tip ability. But when it comes to tips, I am of the opinion of you should have a wage going on for you. And if your income is relying on tips, what the hell am I paying for? Like, if I'm spending $14 on a burger, I'm pretty sure that the cheese I'm getting, the burger I'm getting, the bread I'm getting, cheap ass bread I'm getting, cheap ass fries I'm getting, like, none of this is like organic. or anything like that. How do I justify spending this much on one meal, whereas I can gather fresher, cleaner, wholesome ingredients for about that much, and I can eat multiple times? And on top of that, you're asking me for a motherfucking tip? I cannot tip you during the current situation when I am going to your restaurant and I am not taking advantage of the full service of a restaurant. I'm not sitting on your table. I'm not using your bathroom. I'm not using your cutlery. I'm not using your cups. I'm not using your dips, sauces that you have on the table. Not that I would use those anyway, but the fact that they're accessible, I think that justifies you inflating the price. But during this event, the prices stayed the same. Some of them even increased because supply and demand, like the supply chain suffered a little. But on top of that, you're asking me for a tip when you're not giving me the full service that as a waiter I associate with, you know, no, I cannot do that. So, same thing with delivery. With delivery, the only difference is that you're bringing food to my house, which I get that we need to take into account the fact that if you're using your personal vehicle, that's wearing down. If you're also using gas, and you also are putting your life more at danger, so maybe your insurance needs to accommodate you for using your vehicle also while you're making money, like at work or something. But I really have a case against tips because I think it is the responsibility of your manager to establish a fair wage for you that encompasses all of those expenses. Do not pass those bills to the fucking customer. That is something that you should have figured out before I ever step into your restaurant, because it almost sounds like a hidden fee. So, yeah, when it comes to tips, I really have like a strong opinion about that because I have read those articles and heard stories of people who say, oh, I went to work today, but I actually lost more money driving there than the money I made on tips. How is that okay? How is that not considered free labor? So I'm not very clear on that. And I remember reading something that said that you're actually supposed to be paid like a minimum wage, and the tips, if the tip does not complete your minimum wage, your manager should be the one paying the remainder that you are owed to fulfill the minimum wage. You know what I'm talking about? Like, let's say that my minimum wage is supposed to be $8 and I only made $5 on tips. My manager is supposed to supply that additional $3 from somewhere. Again, that is something I'm not very well informed on. I can just provide my opinion from a customer point of view. Like, let me know what the fees are. I'm not even using the air conditioner in your establishment by dining in there because I cannot dine in your establishment. So, I don't know. I really have strong opinions about that. But it's just because I cannot imagine me doing a job for like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours and not knowing what I'm going to bring home after I gave up the commodity of time. That is the whole point of you being hired to work something, to work somewhere. People's time costs money. So how is it that you can go somewhere and put henceforth effort and you don't get compensated for that fairly? So anyway, you guys feel free to leave me comments in the future explaining that to me. But yeah, I hate that. I hate that. Modern, generally speaking, I will go with older, not modern. When it comes to cars, I prefer older cars just because those stupid new features that cars be having these days, it seems wasteful. Portable air conditioners have good thermostats, so they run just the fan much of the time, keeping air circulated. True, because I used one of those briefly for some time, and it was the best experience ever. And my electric bill was something that I did not have to dread at the end of the month. So I'm so glad that you have alternatives to something. Like, say, you don't need to have a central air conditioning unit to enjoy air conditioner, you know? So, anyway. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. It's been cool. I am so proud of myself for surviving this entire stream without sneezing because I kid you not, for the past 3 days, I've been having like that itching, burning sensation in my fucking olfactory glands, and I sneeze like 10 times every like 2 minutes, and it was uncomfortable. And I think it's because the weather is starting to change, and I always get somewhat sick every time that happens. And on top of that, my skin irritation is still there, but I guess I was distracted enough to not be like scratching myself until I draw blood. But yeah, overall, I'll survive. This happens to me every single fucking season. But the problem is that every season I don't know what to expect. Sometimes I get rashes like behind my leg, other times it's on my arm, other times it's uh, around my armpit area, other times it's on my side, other times it's on my back. So, like, every year it's different. So, that is why I always dread the hot season. But anyway, it'll be over soon for about 6 months at least. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. And before I depart, Jimmy asks if I have a gluten intolerance. You know what? I have not been officially formally diagnosed with having a gluten intolerance, but I seem to have all the symptoms for it because every time I eat something with gluten, my body feels like if you were to poke me with a needle, I will burst. And apparently, if you have like grainy, bumpy arms, that is one of the physical manifestations of gluten intolerance. And when I was younger, I went to the doctor for that, and she thought it was some kind of psoriasis. So she gave me, maybe not psoriasis, but something similar to that. And she prescribed to me some kind of lotion. I still remember how that shit smelled. And I was supposed to use that after taking a shower and scrubbing myself with Selsun Blue. Um, and that didn't work. It really wasn't making it any better. The only thing that I was able to perceive though was that my skin was like really smooth and clean, and you know how when you have dirt and your pores are clogged, it looks kind of like dark. Just dark stuff gets like under your nails if you scratch yourself. But yeah, when it comes to gluten, I'm sure that I am gluten intolerant because every time I eat something and alternate it for a gluten-free option, it's like my problems are not there. If I eat, say, burritos using non-flour flour tortillas, like say almond flour instead, I feel so much better. But the problem with that is that those alternatives tend to be mad expensive. So lately, what I have been doing is opting for cooking those recipes, but just not using a bread base. The only thing I don't have an alternative for is pizza. But I have been limiting that anyway. But yeah, definitely, I have no doubt that I have a gluten intolerance because when I deliberately watch myself and go at least 2 weeks avoiding gluten, it's like I'm a new human being. I feel like I am 7 years old again, physically. That's what it sounds like. I have the same sort of issue. If I stay away from gluten, the problem largely stays away. And honestly, during the winter, when it comes to like my severe rashes and stuff, I don't have skin issues during the winter. The only thing that happens is that since the air gets drier, I find myself reaching out for the lotion bottle a little more often. And of course, I gotta drink more water. But that kind of irritation doesn't really happen much. And sometimes I think that it's my sweat, but it's strange because if that were the case, why is it that it happens on spots on my body where I don't usually sweat? Like, I used to think that my elbow irritation was from me driving on my car like this, and then my elbow rests on like that hot part of the hard plastic that my car's interior is made from. And I only say that because I felt it one day that it was hot and I did that and I'm like, huh, my elbows are really burning. But then it hadn't happened to me in previous years. Like last year, I did not have any elbow issues. So why is that happening this year? So anyway, my mom and my boyfriend, they're always asking me, do you know what that is? What could that be? Do you know what's causing that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But definitely having a cleaner diet helps with that. But the problem persists because even when I avoid gluten, I still have issues, but not as bad, I must say. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.